Join me this week as I venture to my rural hometown to spend Easter with my family, where I eat traditional British food, enjoy the spring vibes, and visit a hotel from the 1700s. My hometown is only an hour away, but I tend to only go back home to visit my family on bank holidays. Does that make me a bad son? Since I take the train into London for work, I don't drive much these days, so driving in the sun was rather therapeutic. When I left home, my parents had the absolute cheek to repurpose my room, so when I visit, my partner and I stay in a hotel. Given the hotel is so small that only hotels are really old, and this one was from the 1700s. The room was incredibly fancy and came with perhaps the biggest TV I've ever seen. After checking into the hotel, we headed back out and drove over to my parents' place to say hi and debrief on everything of note from the last few months. Wait a minute, is that SpongeBob over there? We then headed out and drove to a nearby nature walk, enjoying the sun and burning some calories before my mum force feeds us about 3,000 calories. The local lakes are beautiful in the countryside, and we made sure to explore, taking in all of the local sights. Now that the weather is nicer, I took the opportunity to get my car cleaned. Its last clean was far too long ago, so it was certainly overdue. Finally, it was time to eat, and we ate my mum's roast dinner, objectively the best roast dinner out there. Given I had already eaten unhealthily, I took it as a sign to go completely off the rails and indulge in all of the lovely British food my hometown had to offer. Coming back home after a weekend away meant the fridge was empty, so my partner and I went shopping. As a small aside, do you know how awkward it is filming yourself picking up random items from the shelves? How do people do this? With the shopping secured, the weather was still lovely. In the UK, you never know when you're next going to see the sun, so it's mandatory to go out and enjoy it when it decides to show up. Fortunately on this day, the weather was perfect, with clear skies, no chance of rain and let's just ignore that. My fiance has recently also picked up baking as a hobby, and I have a super important job of Chief Tasting Officer, and I take my duties seriously. The downside of a 4-day weekend is the aftermath at work, where I have just as much work to do, but I've lost 2 full days. I ended up going into the office a lot this week and worked extra in the evenings to try to catch up.
Just give another minute if I'm bored up and I'll learn how to join.
On top of that, there were tube strikes this week and it was a bit of a pain getting into the office. With that said, I enjoyed trying new lunch spots when in the office, and I managed to catch the Paddington Orchestra when on the way home. And finally, amidst everything else, I tried to keep on top of my homework and studying. And that's all for this week. Thanks for sticking to the end, and have a great day.